Put your name over the end.
So, look.
I don't know what's wrong with this TV.
It was literally just working yesterday.
We just had it on. I don't know what's going on.
I think we might be missing a quarter or something.
Matter of fact, why don't you just YouTube and I'll fix it?
I got you.
Man, the stuff that we learning in school nowadays is stupid. Like, am I going to use it when I get out of high school?
Foolish. 60% of what they teach us is already lies. Last week, I got kicked out of Mr. Whitman's class because I told him Columbus didn't discover America. My people was already here.
Man, that's exactly what I'm saying. Everybody knows Columbus didn't discover America, so why are we celebrating Columbus Day again?
I don't know. My sister said he was a mass murderer. He slaughtered all our ancestors. And he brought diseases over here and had plans for a new world order.
New World Order? That sounds like some Illuminati stuff.
Hey, y'all ever read that book, Pawns in the Game?
Nah.
Who wrote it? William Guy Carr in 1950s. And he was a real-life whistleblower. And yeah, that Illuminati stuff is real. But it's not like how they tell it to the public. You see, they hire these so-called whistleblowers and freedom fighters. They've been paid off to tell us bits of the truth, but it's all smothered in lies. And if you study the 5 principles, it's easy to see who the sellouts are.
The 5 principles, what that mean?
Yeah, the 5 principles. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it's more like 80% of what they teach us is all lies.
Well, look who it is. If it isn't the rejects.
How'd you get down here, Indigo?
How'd you get down here, Indigo? I hope we're not down here acting like the professor again. I mean, seriously, this routine is getting to be a bit old, don't you think?
Anyway, they've been casting spells on us for hundreds of years. They hoped that we would never wake up and realize the truth. And by the time we did realize it, all the truth had been hidden, all the stuff had been changed, and the meaning of words don't even mean what they supposed to mean. Like, take the word black, for example. Indigo, what color is that TV right there?
Black.
Alright, yeah, what color is that right there?
Black.
Okay, Courtney, what color is your skin?
Black?
You see, everybody in here has a skin tone of brown, but we call ourselves black. Why? Black don't even mean what you think it means. The word black didn't even exist until the 1500s. And the last time I checked, our people been here. Indigo, what does the word black mean?
You want the new definition or the original?
Just give them both.
Well, the word black today means dead or the absence of light. But the word black back in the day means bleach or to make pale.
Our problem is lack of knowledge and the intended deceit and trickery done, because even those who read the bibliotech that you call the Bible says he shall fool even the most believe. So even those who think they're highly educated in this and that, they've been fooled. That's it. It's not really complicated.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it, to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the day they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the day they call us Pharaoh. The gods are back, the Moors are strapped. We waking up and we want our land back. Running off at the trap, you know them guys don't like that. Waking up from a nap, like where the hell my crown at? Take a step back, like I know this bitch ain't right back. It's kinda crazy how this karma it strikes back. We enslaved Islam, so they slaved us right back. We called them niggas, then they nigga us right back. We brought them the light, but they ain't bring that right back. If I was lazy, dirty days and with the baby, then maybe, then just maybe won't revolt like Haiti. I too sort love a tour, Marcus Garvey your ass. No, but you are leading, God body the man. Now I ain't gotta be bad, and you ain't gotta be mad, but the planet is heating up, so the first I'll be last. I got that melanin that's better than anything you ever medicine. We at your front door, wonder why you never let us in. Oh, I get it, you never wanted to put them credits in. Well, just forget it, cause I don't know if you can edit sin. We've been enlightened long before Thomas Edison. Skeletons that prove that you wasn't even relevant. In the coldest mountains, cause the sun was your deficit. Captain ancient caveman with the plan of the Jesuits. Check my bloodline, but in time I bring the evidence. Self-governing body, so I don't need no president. Democrat, Republican, donkey versus elephant. I studied the law, so I ain't down with none of that. I self-law and master, so I'm running that. This Molotov comes to burst faster, so I like the match. Despite the fact that ain't even what I'm mad at. I spit the truth, so here's a roof so you can yeah that. My skin is brown and here's a proof, but you ain't hearing that. Dead in the eyes of the law, that's why they call you black. Naming all caps when you fall, that's why I strike back. And strike that from the record ab initio. You gon' need more than some pressure, I got a vicious flow. I can take the road to the high, or I can hit them low. Try to calcify my third eye, or you gon' have to go. Chemtrails all over the sky, and you don't wanna know. Doggone inside of my tribe, they coming no most.
If you believe that your history started on a slave boat, I can guarantee you that's where it ended too. That's what I'm saying. Then, after saying that, and so believe me, go back and do some studies past the 1700s, and I'll guarantee you, sure as you're sitting there listening, or wherever you are, watching, listening, you will find nothing but the word Moor. And that's another thing. Because we weren't called black. That description, maybe, black or more or whatever, but that's it. Know the difference between a description and an actual, person, place, or thing now. I mean, really.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. From the pyramids to the projects, the beginning is the part they want you to forget. Implant your memory with that noose around your neck. It's the king out for planning his set in full effect. The butler, the help, and 12 years a slave. Django and Selma, they get them accolades. They made a movie called Exodus about the gods and kings with an all-white cast from Egypt. Now that's a shame. You ain't never seen no movie about no European slaves. We were traveling the seas when they was living in caves. We had to civilize them, show them how to behave. In fact, we brought them light and taught them how to bathe. This is trading places with stolen identity. We agreed to be educated by our own enemy. Reverse psychology, I'ma need a lobotomy. An exorcism just to get this shit about me. Rose Mariah, Anna E, Ms. Raheem, Tasha Reek, Cujo from Canaanland. Listen to them speak. I done learned from the best. I don't need no DNA test. The nations in my womb had to get them from the breast. The empire's back, so you know what's next. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess. Yes, yes. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess.
Birthright theft. The whole deal was, where's my land that, for them? The whole deal was like, this is really quote-unquote promised land. This is really the quote-unquote heart of civilization. This is really what you might call Northwest Africa. That's what, and I say that to people so they can stop saying I'm going back to Africa and understand that they're in it. It's a Garden of Eden.
That's what they had in Columbus's journal when they arrived.
Absolutely.
In Eden.
So what has happened is absolute lies. That's right. And the land of milk and honey is another terminology. So these things are important because as you're doing studies, and if it says the land of milk and honey, you need to know they're talking about the North American continent. If you don't know that, then you miss it. And that's part of our...
Right here at Ipso home where the Moors have returned. Sir, do you have anything to say about this matter?
Yeah. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Yep. Sir, what do you have to say?
I just want to put on the record, I'm not right. Yeah, what he said. Moors' life matters.
More lives matter. It seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Shot in the back, running or choked out to death on the corners. Mistake the stays are for inside him, says the coroner. To the yellow journalist that won awards for writing facts. For worldwide web press stories, always calling them black. Civil rights violated, here comes C1-7. And CIA and FBI agent, brethren felons with what Big Brother once heard. Most Moors are nerds and study more than if I'm on the road, no biting curbs. No threats of nooses or fighting for survival. Making Moors martyrs won't happen, calling us captain rival. Inquisitionists, governors and secretaries of state. Got stateless on their tables like ribeye steak. With no care, blood dripping, they eat blacks rare. Foreigners wearing 6-point badges, pretending they're heirs to the vastness of state Magudi Balaksa. Stainless blood flow past the horses, brow I swear it's agua. Demons thirst quench, stealing pioneers and organs. Psychiatry, death industry, to start selling black orphans. And half-closed coffins, cause legs are missing. Killing stateless people, cancer won't even see remission. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
System, what system? Not gonna make myself no victim. Run down and kick them up, educate oneself and flip them. All of the titles or nationality strips them. Must grip reality in order to really grip them in this third dimensional illusion. Organized chaos, confusion, stealing your attention, mental intrusion. Universal laws, declaration of the ancients. I self-law and master from the rooftops to the basements. Hoop deep to the spaceship, ever since all creations. Celestial foundations, ocean floor to the ranges, to the mountain tip, to the cosmic infinite. Basically we are way above the shit. In other words, get in tune with spirit. Take a breath and accept mental polarity, gender rhythm, correspondence, vibration, cause and effect.
More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
More lives matter cause I sing it no sound off. It gets defective, I'm rejected, put your mask off. If my perspective, I'm directed to replay. All the news that on replay, so they wanna cast off. Worry them, on to the next one. Enough of them are hunted down. Use them a cast cross. Can't believe I taught me that. Can't believe a crash pause. Trayvon, Michael Brown died for us to find cause. The afterlife visited the class prom. Who they really wanna see with the crown on high and the guards on free? I am free and you're no business but your land or your country to seek your inalienable rights. The insatiable delight of knowing thyself and bringing all injustice to light. But the fight is your plight, make your sight for the bright. I'm the mic in the night, foresight for you to realize that, huh?
More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
Of the so-called white man, pale-skinned white man called himself the red man up until the Union of 1863, at which time he took on the title of white man. So the Europeans did not use our title of white until 1863. Do some research, you all. The red man, sometimes called redneck, and the white man and the Indian are all one and the same, either codes made or used by the Europeans, so don't get it twisted. Now, pale-skinned people are the direct result of an animalistic scientific experiment of an Asiatic Moabite scientist named Yaqub, who is also called Jacob in the Christian Bible. So Yaqub's full name was Yaqub Caucasius Cushitis Israel. And Yaqub had a staff of Moabite women scientists who agreed to submit themselves to sexual intercourse with the Negro Yabika monkey, the Negro animal, to produce and eat like offspring with pale skin. Now the Negro Yabika monkey is today called chimpanzee. And this is where Charles Darwin talks about the naturalist. He talks about the origin of them from the monkey. So don't get it twisted. The chimpanzee has pale skin, under his hair, and he passed his pale skin and long fur like animal hair onto his offspring by the whole white woman scientist with whom he had sexual relationship. This was real history, so we don't use the comfort zone.
Islam Moors. Peace and love to all Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all Moors. Islam Moor. So we wanted to let all the people know out there just a quick excerpt about the Yaqub experiment by one of the master teachers, Taj Tariq Bey. The whole concept of this experiment basically explains how blonde hair, blue eye Europeans came into being, how they came to exist on the planet Earth. So, no, because we already know, because of the blonde hair and the blue eyes, that that's the original one. Everybody else after that got brown hair and brown eyes and all that stuff, they have the Moorish tie in their blood. True Romance told you that. As soon as you see dark hair and dark eyes, know that there's some connection to melanin in that individual. That just might happen to have pale skin, but their eyes are dark and their hair is dark. We're not talking about people dying and stuff like that. We're talking about that's their hair and eye color. And when we go back to so-called slavery time, these so-called slave masters told you, the so-called slave masters told you that one drop is a rule amongst the masters. One drop was a rule that if anybody had one drop, no matter how they look like, you put them in slavery because they're probably a nigger. So don't be fooled because of pale skin that might not be a nigger, because they had huge problems with so-called dark-skinned people who, for whatever reason, came out the womb without dark skin and were passing as Europeans. And Europeans had a big problem with that. Modern Europeans had a huge problem. But then they realized that, hey, we could actually use these people as well. Because we already know that we have our people trained, or they have our people trained into thinking that the European is superior. No. When we go back to the experiment, and this being 2019, and we already know how this European feels about our genetic superiority. They want to keep things quiet. They don't want to have information out there like Europeans are created, because then that puts them in a very subjective position, and they can't play the role of superior over anybody if they were created. And when we go back again, the creator, the one who implemented this process to create another, because remember, don't forget, something led up to let's create a European. You didn't just one day wake up and say, oh yeah, let's just create a European, let's create some pale being or whatever. Let's do some experiments and try. No, something led up to that. What led up to that? The same thing that put us under subjugation by these same Europeans that we created. Our passivity, our laziness, which is why they push this thing about, black people are lazy and they don't work and all that stuff. All those people are descendants of this Moor Yaqub. All the complainers, all the ones who don't want to do what they're supposed to do, they don't want to be active, they want to be passive, those are the Yaqubites. Those are the lazy ass Moors who didn't want to do any work. This brilliant what idea was create a species to work for him. And then now we're in that same mess that we created. Just because we don't want to listen to what the prophet told us to do. Learn to love instead of hate. Learn to love instead of hate, especially you Yaqubites. You sit on your ass Moors that aren't active, very passive. Moors who would go buy some Jordans before they go to No More Daily Merchandise and go buy a shirt from a Moor for $30 or $40 or whatever. Then complain about more stuff is expensive and whatever like that. And not support the same lazy asses. So these lazy asses today now, they have a problem. Because there's beings that they created that are more active than them in their own stuff.
Yep.
And they're mad. They don't want to be active. They want to be passive cowards. But they're mad that a European's more active than them. And instead of them get active, they're going to talk BS about a European. And we're not talking about Europeans. We're not talking about plural. We're talking about one European. One European. This one European is such a problem? How come Moors aren't talking about all these Europeans? Green Donut, Van Balion, The Generation Nation, For Freedom Channel BS.
Right.
All these Europeans out here who are lying to the public, talking about Moors or sovereign citizens. They say nothing about these Europeans. With YouTube pages, with 50 YouTube pages. Uploading the same videos on all these different pages or whatever, just to push the point that Moors are sovereign citizens, to get people to abandon their birthright. But they're mad at the Muslim son who's standing up for birthright that's not even his. It's not his birthright. He doesn't have to make videos and put it on YouTube and talk about Moors. He's Austrian. If he's Austrian, why isn't he putting out Austrian videos? Think, Moors, and you might save yourself. If he's so trying to steal your birthright, how come he's not putting up Austrian videos? How come he's putting up things dealing with Moorish history, Moorish law, Moorish science, nothing Austrian? Nothing. I have never seen one Austrian history video by this Austrian. So there must be something. Because all these Moors who I hear talking crazy about this European, because he has a fez on or because he says Bey, he's saying he has the title Bey, they're mad. But you have nothing to say about all these Europeans talking crazy about your birthright, that you're sovereign citizens? You have nothing to say. but you're mad at this one European, you have a serious problem. And my personal opinion is no proof of truth, but you know, is what it is. My personal opinion is these people have not really embraced they're not Negro black colored yet, because they still have a black mindset that they hate a European for no reason. Europeans even did good for you. Oh, forget him, he's a European. You making up all time every reason in the book why you're not going to support the concept of Europeans being brought in back in to be civilized. Oh no, they're European. They can't be part of this. So you really think that your being there, your creating of this species on the planet, that in 2019 now we got to deal with them. You're not going to take responsibility for the BS that you created? Oh, you're just going to let the demon seed run rampant. You're not going to do nothing about that you created. You know, but European didn't come from nowhere other than us.
Right.
They don't have no landmass on Earth that they could say is theirs. And the only ones who do, like I said, they got blonde hair, they got dark hair, dark eyes, and they're tied through the blood. Just look at their hair or their eyes. Islam more.
Islam. You nailing it on the head right now. Because that's exactly my whole point. Is like you can't throw your special child to the side. You know, you can't put your baby in the dumpster. You know, that's your child. Either way you look at it. Scientifically, the Hakus, either way, they came from us. You can't throw your baby to the side. That's yours. We created this. You can't, like your mom said, like, you gotta go clean your room. You made that mess. You gotta clean that up. You can't just leave your mess there.
What happens if you get your ass beat by your mom? You leave your mess around.
Beat. Beat. And don't try to halfway do it.
Exactly.
Pulling out stuff. Try to halfway do it.
Don't halfway do nothing.
We gotta fully take responsibility and clean up this mess. We did the whole thing, and then try to look for ways to get out of it. You know, like, oh, such and such, he was in here too. Like, nah, man, this your room. You started it. This don't try to not fix what you did. The whole thing is we created this mess. We created our issues. We have to fix and address our issues. You can't just leave it on the side. And that's what we do nowadays too. That's why everybody got old conveyances in their driveway. You're just getting all this junk and just keeping it there and not doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to fix it. You got it there. You're supposed to fix it up. But no, we just leave it to the side. And that's the same thing we trying to do now. You modding it, and that's the thing. It's not like Latif is doing wrong. He told us numerous times he'll never steal the birthright of the Moors. He told you that. You know, the Moor the teachers put a video up saying how Moors was you know, doing like acting like they were going to help him in the PayPal, and he goes in there and tells them his PayPal information, tells them where they can send it to. He goes and checks it. They give him one note, 55 cents, and put LOL. These are the Moors.
These are Moors, huh? Don't forget, these are Moors we're talking about. We're not talking about Negroes or blacks or, you know what I mean, African, whoever, or Europeans. We're talking about Moors. People who are El or Bay. You Right? Remember, we're talking about, this is one European. That's actually one modern European that's actually standing up for the Moorish birthright, not his Austrian birthright. He already knows he's Austrian, and he knows the BS that they did. That's why he's showing his allegiance to somewhere else. Because he's not in Austria right now. This is not Austria. This is Morocco. Like we were talking with Brother Yusuf earlier. When the nigger from over here goes over to Saudi Arabia or whatever like that, they wear hijab. They don't go over there and do that nigger stuff that they do over here. Why? Because over there, they're Ipso Jure Moorish subjects. Or in their terms, Ipso Jure Arabians. So they get to go on the camel and they get to go at the mosque. They could crip dance at the mosque and all, do all their BS. Right? They could do all their BS, their nigger stuff, but trust that those people over there don't play, go over there and do nigger stuff. Just ask Buddy, your favorite rapper guy who wants to go Sweden or whatever, go pick fights with people and then you get kidnapped. Not the people who beat your ass.
Right.
How do they beat your ass and then you get jail?
Yeah.
No, because you weren't Ipso Jure subject of over there. You went over there as nigger. Try to do your nigger stuff. This one European we're talking about. We're not talking about all these different people talking about Moors or sovereign citizens and putting up, propaganda videos, right? 37,000, 193,000. This is what people are uploading against you. And then these Moors aren't going to go back the European who's talking on behalf of their birthright. They're going to go send him $1.50. Somebody struggling, they're asking for some assistance. And then they're sending them $1.50 and then put in LOL. And these are Moors. Those aren't people that's about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Those aren't people who are with Noble Juali.
Uplift fallen humanity.
They're not uplifting no fallen humanity. Those are niggers with fezzes on.
Yeah.
Nigger Moors. We told you about them Moors 5-6 years ago. Told you about nigger Moors. No, but why you can't do that? Why you gonna do? You can't do that. What do you mean? That's why they're still here, because people didn't want to deal with them. Just like they didn't want to deal with these Europeans. They don't want to take responsibility for their stuff that they created. They want to sweep off stuff under the rug, have the rug looking like goddamn Washita Mound or whatever, talking about everything's all right over here.
Yeah. And that still stems from the Eurocentric thinking. All that still comes from Eurocentric thinking. That whole, why are you helping them and all, that's Eurocentric. As soon as you do that, that's Eurocentric thinking. They're the ones that do that divide and conquer stuff. That's Spanish Inquisition practices. To divide and conquer. To make it seem as if with the science to the foundation was when the Moors went around the world and through the bloodline we made everybody one. So that's the foundation. The modern Eurocentric thinking is to keep everybody separate. And I think that's why they're always categorizing human beings. Oh, as this, you're this over there, you're this over there. That's to divide and conquer. To keep people divided. You're that over there. And our arguments as a people, we still stem from that. We still think from these Eurocentric ideas. Okay, like in this book, right, she writes, next he says he wants to reclaim his righteous character. So what is character? Character is a gradual process of development guided by specific attitudes, philosophy, ethics, and a clear sense of right and wrong. It must be planted in an individual daily basis. It preferably should be endorsed by the father and recognizable in the surrounding community. It says, now this is the author, it says the black man has not had the benefit of these interpersonal systems. So it is no great wonder that adult black men do not possess similar recognizable traits of character. Their behavior and practices have been developed from a conglomeration of foreign ideas he has been surrounded with since birth. She has been unable to settle on a definite scope of black male characteristics. Now, I know she uses the word black, but she even tells you, it's been a conglomeration of foreign ideas that has surrounded him since birth. Like, that's why I'm saying, our people say that, oh, you're helping them because that's the Eurocentric thinking since birth. That comes out of the book, The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man, by Shahrazad Ali. And that's a Moorish title, so she know too. But again, she's laying the foundation down. I'm telling you, your whole thing is Eurocentric thinking. No matter which way you try to slice it, you're just stuck in. You're playing game. That's modern Eurocentric thinking. Because we know Sufism, everything is going back to ourselves. Once you go and play in the blame game, that's Roman, Spanish Inquisition thinking. Why are you helping it? Because remember, the Moors went into Europe and brought them out of the Dark Ages. People try to play the games. Why did the Moors go help the Europeans? That's not why we fell. We fell because we was fighting each other. That had nothing to do with helping them.
Exactly.
That had nothing to do with that.
Don't even go there.
Don't say that. Nothing. That had nothing to do with nothing. Moors, we always went around. That's what we do. Uplift all humanity around the world. Every part of the planet, we went around and helped cultivate it, help uplift it. Everywhere. You go to Hindustan, the Moorish Empire there. We went everywhere and uplift all humanity. That's what we did. When I read the book, I gave it to my sister yesterday. But the secret history of the world, it talks about how we take on another way we take on. It's a Western Eurocentric thinking, because they don't even tell that in Europe that the Moors weren't the ones that they say that stuff here. Only on the Western Eurocentric thinking. I'm like, oh, that's even a clearer breakdown. Like, we only get that crap here. The rest of the world knows that it was the Moors. These guys. And it goes back to what Dr. Jose Pineda Bay said. That it's just that when the books get here, they change it to black.
And then that's how you get it from birth.
Yep.
The majority of us, we've been taught by some pale European education system. We weren't taught by our own. We weren't taught by somebody outside of this hemisphere who have the actual, it says more in the book, not black. We get the black version. We get the Negro capitalized N version. We get the Indian, right? We get the Indian version, red man version, white man version. You read books from other places, they don't play that game that they play here, which again, we're talking about Moors have this mindset. We're not talking about everybody has this mindset. We're talking about people who are supposed to already be away from that mindset. They still got it, but they got fezzes on and turbans. Talking about they hate one European. And then you have all these Europeans right here literally going against their birthright, and they're doing nothing about them. Zero. You even hear Moorish Science Temple talking about the Europeans calling Moors sovereign citizens. They're going to talk about the Moors who are active are sovereign citizens. You know how Eurocentric that mind says? that you're going to protect your enslaver? How are you protecting your enslaver? Because again, in defense, in supreme defense of the Muslim son, and other ones who are out there, they don't play Moors as sovereign citizens like these Europeans. They're not looking at it from a perspective that they're taking something or claiming something. They know that they're in the land of the Moors. They study law. They have law dictionaries more than Moors have law dictionaries. Europeans, what do they know? They know that the United States of America is a constitutional republic, as far as Europeans are concerned. All right, if it's constitutional republic, then as a subject, they owe allegiance to the sovereign. You know, Europeans are sovereign over here. So why would these Europeans show allegiance to some U.S. or whatever when they study and know that the sovereign of the Americas are the Moors? The sovereigns of this vast estate that they got permission to come over here to escape Moors who were trying to get whatever, they came to the Moors and the Moors helped them escape other Moors. Same stuff that's going on right now. The Moor sent me a message this morning. Right? Yeah, the Moor. He stays at somebody's house, another Moor. Because we are all Moors, Anur Majid. So the European Moor, who's showing allegiance to the sovereigns of the Americas, the Moors, goes to another Moor's house to stay at. He stays at that Moor's house. The Moor's house that he stayed at called him to tell him that they got brickstone in their window. He's traveling, getting followed by people. This is in his territory or whatever. People who are Moors in the territory where he's at. He gets out the conveyance to approach them, and they just sit there. They don't do anything. They don't, whatever. He gets back in his conveyance, start traveling, then they're following still. Moors we're talking about. Not some Europeans. They don't tint on the car or nothing like that. Moors. This one European, and you people have said not one word have they said against any type of disrespectful position Europeans take against the Moors. Like all these YouTube pages right here. Anytime you see Moors are sovereign citizens, know that's a European or a Temple Moor.
That whole thing is crazy.
Right? Sovereign citizen, Moorish language, Les's Lounge, 23,000. Ain't nobody.
Not a word.
Nobody.
Why not follow them around? Why nobody's doing nothing to them? Nothing. Gonna bother this one more due to amalgamation, like Grand Sheep was saying. Anur Majid. And then, hold on, before I go on to that, Anur Majid breaks down too, because we also know by consanguinity, but he also wasn't in a political manner by saying all Moors are anybody who is going against the Spanish Inquisitional practices. Anything those Roman venues are pushing, if you're going against that, you're a Moor.
You're a Moor.
You're a Moor. That's what the Norman's basically his whole thing about the book was. Like anybody who was going against that or practicing Moorish science, those were all Moors. That's how they was considered. That's what you was considered.
And again, like we said, right? From the United States citizenship perspective, whatever, they already know what's up. They already know.
Right, because Ipso Jure is Moorish subject. That's the law.
Right. Remember, remember, even though you hear people say Tangiers and Algiers and Tunis and Morocco and all that stuff, don't think when they specifically speak about Morocco that they only mean some kingdom that came about in 1956. Because what we're about to read is from 1906. So what Morocco are they talking about in 1906? If these guys just came about in 1956, go check their track record. They'll tell you. Yeah, we came about 1956 after we left under French jurisdiction. Oh, so that didn't apply to all Morocco. Not all Morocco territories were under French rule. Sir, there are strictly speaking no Moroccan laws relating to citizenship of Moorish subjects in Morocco. The fundamental laws of this non-Christian country are based entirely upon the Islamic code, no part of which treats the subject of citizenship. There are, however, numerous treaties and conventions between the various Christian countries and the Moorish Empire. This is not what we say. This is what U.S. is saying. This is not what Moors are saying. This is what they know. That laws relating to Morocco are based on treaties and conventions. Not between Christian countries and the Islamic Empire. Not between Christian countries and the Arab, the Moorish Empire.
Or Muslim, or
right? Why not
Islamic
Christian countries?
doctrine.
Yeah, why not Christian countries and the Muslim Empire? And why are they being specific to say Christian countries? Because you know there's not too many of those. Those are that's specific when they say Christian countries. In 1906, remember this is 1906. We're not talking about today. When you say Christian countries and they show you, you know what I mean, the whole of Africa. No, that wasn't always a Christian country. There are, however, numerous treaties and conventions between the various Christian countries and the Moorish Empire, by means of which citizenship in this country is defined. But, as I understand from the above acknowledged instructions, that it is not the desire of the department to call for a report upon such lines. I will therefore confine these remarks to general conditions existing, which may possibly be of some use in connection with the information desired. Citizenship in Morocco may be said to be governed by the laws pertaining to the same in other countries, with the exception that all persons residing in Morocco who cannot prove foreign citizenship or protection are considered ipso jure as Moorish subjects. So all these persons that aren't natural, that are residing in Morocco, who cannot prove foreign citizenship, because remember, they say that they expatriate, but they're not saying they're from Europe. Oh yeah, we expatriate from U.S., but we're just going to be free men on the land. No, it doesn't really work like that, European. That was a good try.
Yep.
But it doesn't work like that. If you're going to expatriate from U.S. because you find out that Trump is building a wall and you're against a wall and stuff like that, then you need to go back home. You don't stay here and march and picket about the foreigner in office when you're a foreigner. You should just go back home. You would have no problems with Trump if you go back to Europe. But no, they don't want to do that. They want to stay here and be free men and be, you know, whatever they think that they could be. Well, if you're in Morocco and you have no foreign citizenship or protection, then you're a Moorish subject. And again, Black's Law Dictionary, subject under constitutional law, one that owes allegiance to a sovereign and is governed by his laws. One that owes allegiance to a sovereign, not to a country. That's why they said Moorish Empire. That's why they said Moorish subjects, because Moors are sovereign. So these subjects obviously are showing allegiance to the sovereign.
Right.
Because they have no foreign citizenship. This is not their land. And this is what Latif found out. This is what he found out. Now, hold on a second. If I'm against them, but I'm not from here, then I have to show my allegiance to the sovereign. Well, who's the sovereign? I don't see any sovereigns over here, so I guess I'm just going to stay here. Oh no, he started going around and started telling these blacks that they're the sovereign. He started getting kidnapped to go into prisons to tell black people that they're Moors, that they kicked him out of prison. This is the stories that you don't hear about with Latif Bey. Stories that I know, because, you know what I mean? He tried to call other Moors and they don't want to hear nothing that he's saying. Other quote-unquote Moors in leadership. They don't want to hear nothing because he's European. What are you going to tell me? Well, what he told me is that he got kidnapped. He got kidnapped. And when he went to the prison, he was telling people in the jail that they're Moors. To the point where they didn't want him in the jail. Why did he do that? Oh, because he studied under Taj Tariq Bey. He was sitting at the feet of Taj Tariq Bey's videos on YouTube. And he heard Taj say, if you get kidnapped, don't go in there for yourself. Go in there and save somebody else. And he said, well, hey, all right, well, if I'm studying and I know that Noble Drew Ali said you're not Negro, black, colored, and I'm in this place where all these people are who think that they're black, I might as well let them know that they're not black. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Got him kicked out the prison. And then that's when he knew it was real and started repping for Moors harder than Moors are repping for Moors. And it's a story that he doesn't like to talk about because he got his ass beat by these people. Literally got his ass beat by them. And he doesn't like to go there because it's traumatic when your own brothers are beating your ass. Just because you're not speaking Christian. And then you start realizing that, oh damn, if these Europeans are my brothers and I don't even have rights under this jurisdiction, what the hell am I going to stay in this for? Let me go align myself with the real government. Let me go align myself with the real prophet of this side. Remember, all this time we're talking about one European who came to his senses and realized that he's in a non-Christian country. And based on the Islamic code, he better show allegiance to the sovereign, or he's about to get abused for the rest of his life by these people who are supposed to be his brother. And he's realizing that those aren't even his brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Islam Moor,
and he's the only one. And he's the only one that's basically following the law, or the only one European who would be a naturalized Moor, like, because he went through the real process. He's the only one I know of that said, "Oh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to be. Ipso Jure Moorish subject. Well, let me go get permission from the Moors to be here on their land."
Exactly.
He's the only one that did it. The problem is all the other Europeans who haven't done it. But they're targeting the one guy who did do the thing he was supposed to do, be an Ipso Jure Moorish subject, a naturalized citizen of the Moroccan Empire. That's it. He did it. He's the only one I know who did it. And now he's getting all these problems from Moors because he's the one that is following what our ancestors laid down supposed to be going down for these Europeans to be here. He's doing it. He's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. But I don't know why or comprehend why Moors is giving him all these problems. Like, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's going around telling unconscious Moors that they're Moors. You know, like, in the video, he's walking around talking about how he's been homeless for 5 days, you know, just waiting to get out of there where he's at. And when he's waiting on Moors to get their stuff together so maybe Moors could hire him. Because he, like I said earlier, he got videos where he says he will never take the Moors' birthright, no matter, like, that's not what he's going to do. So he's waiting for us to get our stuff together so maybe a Moor on his ancestral estate can hire a European to work. You know, he's in the video saying he'll walk around, he's going to different hotels and places saying that he'll work for just a room and board. And Moors giving the only European who's here to be a naturalized citizen and went to see the Moors to do that. Moors getting busting out his windows and stuff, going crazy. Giving him, but he's the one that went and said, you know what, this is the Moors' land. You know, I'm gonna try to uplift all humanity and do what I'm supposed to do. And, you know, the prophet gives us plenty of clues. You know, the prophet said, I am a universal prophet. I came to you, Moors, because you needed me the most. You know, but he's universal. You can't just say the prophet's your own, like, you know, because he didn't say that.
Exactly.
He didn't say that. He didn't say I only came to you, Moors. So as soon as you play that game, you're not following what the prophet said. As soon as y'all do that. And it was the Grand Sheik was going in a couple of days ago in class about the European who came to the temple to thank the prophet for telling him to get his notes out of the banks because all of that was about to crash. And then the dirty Moors that helped get rid of the prophet told him the prophet deceased, and he broke down crying. European. In my head, I'm imagining he's the only one that was probably crying because the Nation of Islam started with 120,000 members that came from the Moorish Science Temple. European was the only one. To me, now I look at him like, yo, he had to be the only one in there crying. Because I know 120,000 of them who said, now we're NOI. So how could they have cried?
Exactly.
How could they have cried?
Well, how would they have cried that the prophet transitioned? Or they said that they're going to follow the mausoleum Moors. Or they said they're going to follow the whatever Moors after the prophet transitioned. The Moors didn't mourn. anything. So that's why the prophet said it's only going to be a handful saved. Right, 2 and 3.
Be careful.
Yep. Your own.
Your own.
Your own. How? Look again. 2 and 3. Moorish subjects lost their nationality. Moorish subjects lost their nationality only by becoming naturalized in or protected by another country having treaty relations with the Moorish Empire. So they're in the land of the Moors. They're in the lands of the Moors. And instead of showing allegiance to the Moorish Empire, they said U.S, Canada, whatever other fake jurisdiction that was created in order to gain some type of citizenship or citizenry.
Yeah.
You cannot be in this land without going through the correct channels as a foreigner. The correct channels is not go to Walmart to get your citizenship. That's not what you're supposed to do. As soon as they find out that that's what they did, then they expatriate. Okay, what if you then at the point of expatriation, now you have to claim something. You can't keep playing around that you're not tied to anything. You're just gonna be a floater. You mean you're just a floater? How are you just floating? Oh, well, because natural law and common law, what are you talking about? Natural law and common law. What are you talking about? This is Morocco. This is not Europe. If you want natural law and all that stuff, go back to your natural habitat. And like we said, they're going to go over there, go back to Europe and realize that Moors are waking up over there.
Yep.
Claiming that back over there. And then they're still going to have to be Moorish subjects even if they go back to Europe. You can't continue to play the game like the Europeans aren't our problem. Just like how they say a nigger problem, okay, we are cracker problem.
Yeah.
We got cracker problem, we got to fix that. We're the ones that messed up. And logic kicks in when you start studying. This doesn't have to do with emotions and feelings when you start studying. When you start studying, you realize that we are the salvation. How are we claiming that we're the Moors, we founded civilizations and we got Europe out the Dark Ages, but then European today, we don't want to get them out the Dark Ages today? They're in Dark Ages right now. What are you talking about? And we're Moors. What you mean you're not going to help the European? Oh, let them whatever. LOL. Here's $1.50 donation to your problems that we created.
Yep.
And then again, it's not like they're saying, ha ha ha, LOL, $1.50 to them, but then they're going to Khalifa Media and buying 500 notes worth of books or whatever. They're not doing that. They're going to go buy fluoridated water and BS. They're not saying, oh, 150, whatever, and then, you go to their house and they got their own garden. Oh, no, they're going to European to go give European their finance in order for them to have some food in the fridge or whatever. The Europeans who we know are against the birthright. The Europeans who they should be fighting against the most. That's who they're riding with. Islam more.
Islam. And that's all, and it goes right back to the foundation, the Eurocentric thinking, since birth. Like, that's what it is. They can't, and we said this before, but I like to stress the fact, too, like, again, if you got this information when you was 30, you got 30 years to fix that. Like you gotta get that out of you. Because at birth, you've been hit with foreign ideas of how your life should be, not your culture, not more science. We look at the astrology like it's a game. You know, they're post Leo whatever and have no idea what's going on. Nothing. It is Leo season. Not knowing anything. Why? Their foundation is your general education board philosophy to not be men of thinking. So that's as soon as they start arguing, like we're arguing and debating with people whose mindset is what? Not to be men of thinking. And even if you got the knowledge, when did you get the information? When you were 25, you got hit with 25 years of straight dogma, and then in 5 years you're good. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You gotta take everything and gotta get that out of you, because you're still dealing with. Even though you're trying to get that out of you, when you go outside, it's still getting smacked in your face all day, all the BS to remind you, like they don't know what you're talking about. You got to deal with that. So that's why I'm like, the argument is because a lack of study. Because we're not studying. We're still taking on Eurocentric thinking, playing the blame game. Like we don't know that Europeans is Ipso Jure Moorish subjects. We know that, and then now a European who says that is acknowledging that and honoring the prophet. He put videos up honoring Noble Jure Ali more than anything. He's always putting up Noble Jure. His first things he says is honor to the prophet.
Matter of fact, let's just go to one just to.
Peace and love. It's Latif Bey. I stand squarely affirmed upon my oath to the 5 points of light: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Divine honors to Noble Jure Ali and the most divine and national movement of the world. Here I sit again.
Like, how you mad with that? How you mad with that? Again, like, Salam Bey. The name Salam Bey for this Asiatic denotes at law that this Asiatic is a free man, self-owned. The name Salam Bey for this European denotes at law the property of a family from the imperial Moorish nation. He knows that that's not his property. But look at what is going on around them. They are expatriating. But you have to be tied to something. This Salam Bey, who is obviously European, does not honor his ancestors, for he carries the name of a national of a different pedigree nation. That's known. That's why he keeps saying, I'm Austrian, so you never forget. That's why he keeps saying that I would never steal the Moors' birthright. Because him saying that he's Bey, he's having more fight from Europeans than he had being his self. Because he's looking around and he knows what his ancestor did to the Moors. He don't want to be tied to that. Just like we don't want to be tied to the Moors who did whatever BS to the Europeans. Which is why Noble Jure Ali came. And told you, learn to love instead of hate. Learn to love instead of hate.
Yeah.
Because what hate breeds, you're not going to want to deal with. You better deal with this European. And again, if we're talking about, if we're talking about Trump or Justin Trudeau putting on a fez, saying that they're Salam Bay, and still doing the BS that they're doing, that they were doing under U.S. in Canada, I could see you seeing that there's a problem with that. That's stealing the Moors' birthright. This one European trying to save himself is not stealing the Moors' birthright. Right, again. The name Peter Taylor for this European denotes at law that the European is a free man, self-owned. This Peter, who is obviously European, is lawfully tied to his national heritage. He honors his ancestors, for he carries their name. This Peter Taylor is of European English descent. The name Peter Taylor for this Asiatic denotes at law the property title of the Taylor family, whose name he bears. In the modified, sophisticated, bureaucratic slavery of the juristic United States of America, the states are the overseers of the European family chattel stock. This Peter Taylor, who is obviously Asiatic, does not honor his ancestors, for he claims the name of his slave owner, who is from a different pedigree nation. That's why you're going to hear Yusuf, not Joseph. So you're going to hear Kudro, not Kevin. Because as Asiatics, we have to honor our foremothers and forefathers. Because Prophet told us to do that. So we go to our ancient name, our ancient titles of nobility, and adopt those. And we stop dressing up like the pilgrim and stuff like that, and we start dressing like Moors, and we start being ourselves, and we start calling ourselves ourselves. If Peter Taylor, who's an Asiatic, put Bay on here, Moors wouldn't be arguing with it. Moors wouldn't be arguing with it with an Asiatic with a European name with Bay. You're going to say, oh, well, you gave him his birthright. That's because it's his birthright. Okay, so then, if that's the case, then, if this European, knowing that they're European, knowing that they've been played out of their privilege to be in Morocco by people on their side of the nation who thought that the Moors were a joke and unreal, and sold even them out, why would they want to tie themselves to that if we don't want to tie ourselves to slave history or any other BS? And why wouldn't we use the fact that this European is acknowledging it as a measure for the Negro, black, colored people to see that if this European's going to do this, then what the hell's wrong with you? How are you not saying Charles Finch Bay or Jeffrey Johnson L? Why are you just being the slave name only? Now again, we know, for example, that this European studies and has showed allegiance. It's not like he hasn't showed allegiance to the sovereign. He's been showed allegiance to the sovereign. He's been showing allegiance to the sovereign more than the sovereign showing allegiance to themselves. To the point where he got kidnapped by his own. And only because the sovereigns stood up for him and said, no, he's not your ward. By just acknowledging that we know that he exists. Because remember, they tried to bury him. What do? We said, hey, we're looking for the name that you guys are claiming is in your jurisdiction. But we know the name as Latif Bey. The next day he was released. Not from no writs or anything like that, just from Moors proving that his allegiance is not to the corpse. His allegiance is to the people who gave the corpse even jurisdiction to have any type of claim here. One day later, released. And then after all that, still have to deal with Moors. Who don't want to realize and recognize that you're a dumbass if you're worried about this one European. And you have all these dirty Moors out here and all these so-called European sovereign whoever's who are really trying to steal your birthright. But you're not worried about them. How come? Didn't you realize that the letter to the Pope lady is some European sovereigns? You didn't realize that? You really thought she was some Pope's secretary or whatever? You didn't go check the seal on that to see that some main sovereign whatever is who sealed that document? Where they got a seal from Maine? That's not Asiatic. Oh, but Moors ride with that though. Moors ride with that Pope letter. Just go pull it up and look at the seal. Maine, whatever. Has nothing to do with a court, has nothing to do with whatever. Just some sovereign Europeans who sent out a writ. And everybody jumped on it. Not realizing that the master teacher was using it as a teaching tool to show you what Europeans know. You're talking about Pope letters. There's no Pope letter. That was no secretary of no Pope. That was some Europeans who expatriated from U.S. and they started throwing U.S. under the bus. Go check. So the people who say that they study, because I got their book to know that they're just some sovereign Europeans who realize, oh, hold on a second, you mean U.S. is a corporation and all that stuff? Where do you think they learned that stuff from? From studying Moors, because we're the only ones talking like that. And then instead of them showing allegiance to the sovereigns, they want to go out and do their own thing because they're free because the United States is a corporation and they don't gotta be a citizen of that. Well, then your Ipso Jure Moorish subjects, you better start getting down with what Latif's getting down with. Stop playing. Islam more.
Yep, and that's the real big issue too. That they better do like Latif did and start giving their allegiance to the Moors. You just like this whole topic brings in a lot of other things too. You know what I mean?
Reparation, all of that.
Because that's the whole thing. We gotta go back to the beginning. We all know that this Morocco. And like, Gracie, you covered a lot of things, man. You got me, like, because you already brung up, like, you gotta have like when Negroes go over there to the east, they wear their hijab and stuff. Like when you come over here, you gotta acknowledge the Moors. You gotta wear your Moorish customs. Cause this Morocco over here. Just because of the colonization doesn't mean that that's de jure. What do you think you're supposed to walk around with suits and ties and stuff like that? Like that's not Moorish culture. You know, like that's not what we bring. You know, that's Eurocentric once again. You know, they show that in the kung fu movies and stuff. Like they show you when Europeans come over there to China or whatever, they call them foreigners.
Yep.
You know, and they know that these people have to blend in with our culture, and they do. They show it in the movies. All these Europeans doing kung fu and stuff like that. That's because they blending in with their culture. They know. But it's just till you come over here. Even when Europeans go to the east, they put on a hijab. They know that that's the culture over there. It's just when you come over here. Because the ignorance over here is sky high. And the sellout is so high over here that you can just do whatever.
And
you
then,
can just do whatever. Don't acknowledge anything the Moors are doing over here.
And just like with Peter Taylor, who's an Asiatic, some Europeans know that the European name is going to get me in the jurisdiction of the corpse.
Mm.
I'm not going to that jurisdiction.
Yep. And that brings up another thing too, because now like what else you want these Europeans to do? Like when the T takes on the appellation of they. Europeans didn't even have names. If you get the book Feudalism, like I used the book, I got it at the library, I had to return it, it wasn't mine. But in the book Feudalism, it speaks of how modern Europeans never even had names. They would have to they use their names of their Moorish masters that they would go into town and they would have like a note on them to say who that had like the Moorish master's last name or the family name on them. And they can go into business. They can go into the markets and do business for that master under that name, under that title. And those family names they took on. But they only got them because they were slaves. They never had names. Like, so, what do you want them to do? These people, they never even had names, so-called names, titles, appellations, none of that. They didn't even have them. They first got them from taking on our names to go be able to go do shopping in the markets on behalf of us. And now we don't know that. We don't study. Now we're playing the blame game like, oh, this guy, he can't have a Moorish title. Like, well, you know how they got names? Like, they never even, we gave them our name. Like, that wasn't right. Like, you can go into, we shouldn't be doing that to people. So what else was Latif supposed to take on? Either way, any name he take on is going to be a Moorish title. Even that, because Europe, that's Queen Europa.
Exactly.
She was Canaanite.
Any name that he takes on is going to be a Moorish title. So why are you mad because he's claiming Bay? If he claims Smith, Jones, Johnson, or whatever, that's still our stuff. Just go check all the family crests. I bet a Moors on there.
They never had names. that proves it right there. Anything he does, he's forced to take on Moorish title. But we don't know that. We've got Eurocentric thinking. General Education Board philosophy. That's our platform when we start arguing. We gotta know that. We're not studying. The word study, I got in another dictionary, said study was a verb transitive, meant the embodiment of truth. I said, now that's crazy. That's what studying is, the embodiment of truth. I said, now that's crazy. Like, that's what studying gets you to. Studying gets rid of all the BS, all the fears and everything, all the blame games and everything. Once you start studying, you can't blame nobody because you know, because you're studying. You know the truth. You're not playing, oh, why would you help? You're supposed to help. What do you mean?
Right,
The guy's drowning.
Right, exactly. For example, right? Pata Anu in the chat said Turtle Gang snaps back at the Moors and says that what the Moors are talking about is pseudo or whatever. Look, that's his own birthright. He's dissing, and Moors ain't doing nothing about that. They're gonna let these people talk BS all day about the birthright. Well, we know that they're Moors, and they just leave it at that. But this one European that's doing more than a lot of these people who are complaining is a problem, because he's saying, "Bae, you are so lost in the sauce. You need to check yourself." Anybody.
And then you should be mad if he uses McDonald, McKinsey, Macintosh, all of the Moorish titles, man. I don't care what it's Johnson, Smith, all of those is Moorish titles.
Yep. They're pretending to be Moors too. They're stealing their birthright. How come you're not saying nothing about them? They're stealing their birthright.
It's crazy, man.
Because nature knows no color line. Don't blame us. J.A. Rogers is the one put it out, put all the crests out, put all the names out and all that stuff, saying that all those names aren't European. All right, cool. So if all those names are European and they're Moorish, and then a European today is using one of those European, British, Scottish, whatever name, then that's probably a Moorish name. But you're not mad at them though.
Nope.
All right. They're gonna do what they want to do, regardless. But I know from dealing with certain Europeans that their actions let me know whether they're for this or against this. Even when we were Black Power or whatever, Europeans who were down, more down than the black guys. There was a European that used to go buy our bullets and stuff like that. No black guy gonna be able to get the stuff that we wanted to get. No black guy. It was a European when we were flying on the highway. And we got pulled over and got about to get 500 note ticket or whatever. Is a European in the front seat who told highwayman, hey, just come on, man, and highwayman brought it down to 50 notes. It wasn't a brother that did that.
Yeah.
It was a European who drop kicked the bully when they tried to get me in the washroom. It wasn't a black guy. It was a European. Drop kicked the bully so we could escape the washroom. Give thanks to Tom. The crazy European. The European who used to just draw helicopters and guns and madness. That European. One of my brothers left me. Ran. Because they didn't want to get beat up by the bully. Ran, left me. The European drop kicked the bully for me to escape.
Yep.
And then I go to lunch, I buy him a popsicle or whatever, and then you're mad? What are you mad? The hell am I buying you a popsicle for? For what? You ran. Now you're mad? It's a personal thing. Because trust me, I don't mess with Europeans like that. I already know the history. Like, don't think that this is some European pass for Europeans to doing whatever. No, like, we're talking law right now. How you telling me that this European can't naturalize under the Moors? The hell are you talking about? Why not? Was he supposed to naturalize under you? That's the same stuff that Moors are trying to get out of under. He's supposed to just go with it. Oh yeah, he's supposed to just go put his head under the guillotine just because he's a European and a European is the guillotine string cord puller.
Nope, can't do that. Can't throw your baby in the trash.
Right? Yeah, you know what I mean? Actually, yeah, talk about that one too. Just because we're talking about Europeans. Since you talking about baby in the trash, the video that you watched.
With
yeah.
Tommy Davis.
Yeah,
Tommy
yeah,
Davis and
yeah.
D.L. Hughley. Now we both know, everybody knows, Tommy Davis and D.L. Hughley both know the Moors. You know, Sabir put them on. You know, we've seen the videos of him discussing it with both of them. He knows them, got both of their numbers personally. He knows them. So they know we're Moors. But Tommy Davis.
Tommy Davidson.
Tommy Davidson, the brother from 11 Colors.
Yeah.
You know, and here we go again with the humanitarian thing right here. He's in this interview. He's speaking, and D.L. Hughley goes in and says, "Tell him like your life story or whatever." And he goes in. He was like, "Yeah, I was found in the trash." And I'm, you know, because they're all comedians. I'm sitting there waiting for the joke or something like that. It wasn't a joke. It was real. He was really found in the trash. But what was crazy was his mother, his real, because the way he's telling it too, like he knows in his head that the European lady is not his quote unquote mom. But as he's telling the story, he's saying it like, "Oh, my mom," you know, talking about the European lady, because he doesn't see the difference. Now, but I'm fast forward now. Okay, he gets found in the trash. Now, his mom was a civil rights leader back in the 60s or whatever. And this European lady who worked with his mom came to come visit her and check up on her or whatever. She gets to the house. The family moved. She found out from other people who are in the house that the family had moved. And she took her children with her and had, but left the baby, the youngest one, with the family up the road. So she goes to the European lady who was looking for the mom. She goes up the road to check on the baby or whatever. And she gets to the house. It's people in there doing drugs, and it's like it's crazy in there the way Tommy Davidson is explaining it. It looked crazy. And they tell her, "Oh, the baby's gone," and or whatever, you know, and she's like, "Baby's gone." So she's leaving, and she just sees a bunch of piled up papers and stuff on the side of the house. She said something told her, "Go over there and look underneath them papers." She said she goes over there, looks underneath the papers, she moves it, and in this tire, he said she saw my foot. This European lady. And he said, so my mom, you know, ends up being his mom and stuff like that, and raises him. And I'm fast. Now, this European that took the voice. Now, that's the other thing, too, that's bugging me out. Moors leaving $1.55 in this guy's thing, you know, saying laugh out loud. We're supposed to have the 5 principles and all of this. This supposed to be in the 60s, too. This supposed to be so-called racist European white lady and all of that. Like, she went in with no humanity. She took Tommy Davidson and raised him. But our own Moors with the 5 principles, treating who's supposed to be uplifting, following humanity, is leaving a dollar note in the European's box saying laugh out loud. When the European who's supposed to be I hate so-called black people and all of that, at this time in the 60s, took Tommy Davidson and raised them. She could have just left it. Why are you coming to check up on the lady? And she's not seeing color at all. She saw a baby in the trash and took it. And the thing, okay, now Tommy's getting raised up or whatever, and now we know that they're both, again, D.L. Hughley and Tommy Davidson, no remorse. Now, he's explaining to his mom, the European lady, that he's getting chased and stuff because he's growing up now. He's getting chased and stuff through school, and they trying to bully him. And this Europeans who is chasing him through the school and calling them nigger this, nigger that. And he just told me, he asked his mom, why do they call me a nigger? And she goes, that's what people my color call people your color when they don't like them. And he's like, what? And then he goes, well, what color am I? And she says to him, well, you're black. And Tommy Davidson, he goes, because this is him speaking, being a child, you learn with crayons. He says, so I learned my colors with crayons. And he said, no. I told her, no, I'm brown. Right? And I'm like, listening to him like, okay, we're more, everybody on the thing, D.L. Hughley, Tommy Davidson, no remorse. And he's even saying, like, even as a child, he knew brown, but the example he's using for colors is with crayons. So we also know that, like, he's stinging them with it. And then he even says, for the Europeans, he says, and you guys were peach. And he's using the peach crayon, like for their flesh. And I was dying laughing. Like, this guy's going in, like not calling them, for his example, when he was little, calling them white. He knew, like, by colors, these people look peach, And even when we were little, like when you were color, a European, you wouldn't use white. You would use peach. You would use that. And as soon as he said it, I was like, yeah, like, you did. You really did. You wouldn't use white. They weren't white. And that bugged me out because I'm like, these guys all know that remorse. Everybody knows remorse. But again, the power of money, the power of gold, they're going to do whatever it takes to keep that coming. Because at the end of the interview, he still said, and then once I got older, I knew I was black. I said, man, you just blew the whole interview saying that. Because they still got to play the game.
They got to play the game.
They still got to play the game.
Yep. Right. And there was another one you could look up. Actually, let's see if he comes up. There's another one. Right. Christopher of the Fleming family Owl. That was another one that was stuttering under the master teacher. You know how much kidnapping? Just go watch the 144 videos. You know how much kidnapping he got? He would go to the corporate court, use the Moorish stuff, beat whatever it is that was happening, that they had him in there for, go home, and they'll be waiting for him to take him again.
Yep.
Right? Because that's how real the Moorish birthright is. And again, it's about know thyself. So if you know thyself, then this is going to work for you. Don't matter what you look like.
Oh, it's a real quick question, Gracie. Was that the skinhead looking guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Skinhead looking guy.
Skinhead looking guy.
Supposed to be skinhead. And that Moorish stuff, yeah, that's where it's at, man.
That's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
That Moorish stuff is where it's at.
And oh yeah, and that's the other thing too. You got, when we just showed those Moorish sovereign citizen videos, it's like 3-4 guys with repetitive modern
with
European.
the same stuff going on, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Van Balian and...
Right. But if you go check how many people are dissing Moors, saying we're not Moors and all of this, it's us.
Yeah.
It's Moors saying that.
Yeah.
Way more than 3 or 4 people. It's like, it's quadruple that. Yeah. It's more. It's people who not on YouTube saying we're not Moors. You know what I mean? It's everywhere. Everywhere. In books and literature we read, you see what they don't call us Moors. It's Moors who write books. That's it. All these so-called black leader guys, they don't say that we're Moors. The Europeans say that we're Moors in their books. Llewellyn J. Hall, Peter Moon, all of these Europeans saying that we Moors, and Moors going on there saying, "Oh, we're not Moors. Moors were some pale Arab or Noble Jew Ali Islamic doctrine Moors." Like, come on, man. Moors started in 711 AD. All that modern European Eurocentric thinking is what Moors are pushing. Dirty Moors who know we're Moors. Yeah. But because they got the power of money in their head, power of gold. People get that book, The Power of Gold. That's a great book. I think everybody should read that book, The Power of Gold. Everybody should read that book because it'll let you know we're going crazy over this damn money. Like, it's not even, that's an understatement. We're going insane. Like, we're going crazy. I've never seen a book like that, breakdown of the power of gold. We're going absolutely crazy over that. And money. I told the Grand Sheik earlier, I know I'm going off topic, but the word money is a Roman god, moneta. It's Moneta. So everybody who's always need money, you worshiping money, showing pictures of monies and pictures and all of that, you're worshiping the Roman god, moneta. That's a Roman god.
And like we say today, just like they worship Nike.
Yep.
Who's a Greek god.
Yep.
But they're worried about some Latif. They're worried about some Latif when these people are worshiping Greek and Roman gods in your face?
Yep.
Lovingly and willingly.
That's crazy. That bugs me out. It's crazy. And then selling our people selling us out for this fiat, for this money, so-called money, which is they're selling us out so they can worship a Roman god. Like they have when you study and when you see what it really is that's going on, we're going insane. As a people, we're going insane. As Moors, the mothers and fathers of humanity, we're going crazy over this power of gold, power of money crap. Like no. You're selling each other. They're selling out because of that to worship Roman gods. Selling out, giving up the birthright, keeping us in slavery to worship Roman gods. Because that's what the whole thing is.
Exactly. Roman god worship. That's where we're at. Roman god worship. And again, to stress the point that we're talking about 1 to 5 Europeans. 1 to 5 Europeans exercising their naturalized position has Moors going crazy. But these thousands of cutthroats out here who really don't care about the birthright, who are really usurping the birthright, making up fake corporations and all that stuff to steal the birthright, you know what I mean? Kidnapping people's children, kidnapping Moors off the street, and all that, they have no problem with those ones. They have no problems with those ones. They're going to tell people get licenses and not reserve their rights and that sovereign stuff and all that, just to get them in the wardship jurisdiction all over again. Would do nothing about the Europeans who are really about stealing the birthright. And the Europeans that are here to help, to assist. Oh yeah, speaking about that, we get something. We'll close out with this. You tell me what perspective the Prophet had of Europeans. So these are all the oral statements where Noble Drew Ali made reference to Europeans. Before the Europeans came here, the bananas were large and the grapes were 4 in the hand. It took 2 men with hand sticks to carry 1 bunch of grapes. The Moors were living up and down the Mississippi River before the European man came here. The Europeans went to the Moroccan government and asked for permission to come over here to develop this land. They were given a 50-year mandate to do so. Then the Europeans went to an old sheikh and asked him to give them some people to help to develop this land. The sheikh told them, take those Moors because they are not going to do anything. The European is going to have to pay our people off for the work they did in slavery and pay off in compounded interest. One day, the Europeans are going to lock up the food in the warehouses, put soldiers around them to guard them, and you will not go anywhere, he says, to get something to eat. And you will go anywhere, he says, to get something to eat. One day, you will go to the store, and there will be soldiers there with guns with bayonets on them, and they will not let you enter. They will order you to move on. One day, the European is going to let you down. You are going to have to put up a 90-day supply of food to last you until your brothers come to your rescue from the east. The Holy Prophet told the Moors, children, you are home, and the European is 3,000 miles from home, and he is going to have to take some water. One day, you are going to smell the Europeans before you see them, in boxcars going back to Europe. The European will not be able to remove all the wealth from the land. After he goes back to Europe, mountains of gold will be revealed to the Moors. When the Europeans go back to Europe, the climate will go back to what it used to be. I like good peas and beans. I am going to save 8% of the Europeans because they are good farmers. If the European be just, they would have an Asiatic president, an Asiatic vice president, and if they had an Asiatic president, they would have a European vice president. I am going to stop the European from thinking and start you Moors to thinking for your own good. One day, your biggest trouble won't be getting with European women, it will be fighting them off. Get a good European education and I can use you. The Holy Prophet, while speaking, would jump up in the air and laugh, saying, Rome, 2,000 years ago you got me, but I got you today. I'm going to leave the European here just long enough to teach you how to run a government. Watch the newspapers and listen to the radio. I'm going to make the European tell the truth. The only way you European can be saved this last time will be through the help of the Moors. The only way you European can be saved this last time will be through the help of the Moors. The Europeans were not going to give up until he looked death in the face.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, more.
Read that last part one more time. One more time. That last one.
The Europeans were not going to give up until he looked death in the face.
No, not that one, the other one.
Oh, the only way you European can be saved this last time will be through the help of the Moors.
Oh, so what Latif is doing is what the Prophet told him to do. Like, to do.
Mm.
Like, what do you mean? If he don't do it, he's gone. He's gone. He has no choice. He has no choice. That's what he has to do. It's already written. He has to go to the Moors to go get his saving. He needs to be saved. He got to go see the Moors. But Moors are mad because he's doing that. How?
Okay, what about this one? Just to add this one on to what you were saying. I am going to make the European enforce my law.
See that?
Not enforce European law. Enforce the Prophet's law.
Right. Right.
And if you're mad at a European enforcing the Prophet's law, then you're going against the Prophet.
Yep. The first thing Latif say when he come on his video is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. He honors that. His oath is to the 5 principles.
His oath is to the 5 principles. You find me one of your little Freemason friends that took an oath to the 5 principles, but you'll ride with them though. You'll ride with them though.
I've never even heard no more say that. De jure, true, even the truth. I've never heard anyone say that. I give my oath to the 5 principles.
Right, so once again, the only way you Europeans can be saved this last time will be through the help of the Moors. I'm going to make the European enforce my law.
And that goes back to the ancient mind of your forefathers and foremothers, because when he said, I'm gonna make them enforce my law, it's so Jure's Moorish subject. Latif is enforcing it. He's enforcing it. He's like, yo, I don't care what none of these Moors is talking about. These Moors right here, I'm gonna do what the ancient Moors said.
Yep.
I'm Ipso Jure's Moorish subject. I'm Ipso Jure's Moorish subject. He says it too in his video. He says it. I'm Ipso Jure's Moorish subject. It's not like he doesn't say it.
Exactly.
Like we're saying this for him.
For him,
he says it.
He says it himself. Yeah. Yep.
He says it. Proud of it too. Proud of it.
Oh, proud.
What else would you be?
Super proud. Super proud. And Moors are mad at this one European standing up for their birthright. Don't get mad. Get active.
Right.
Prove that you're worthy of your birthright by being more active than him. Since he's a European, it's not his and all that stuff. All right, prove him wrong then. What are you doing to uplift fallen humanity? Because I know what he's doing. You know what I mean? I got the calls from the prison and stuff like that when they kidnapped him. And same thing. Oaths to the 5 principles and honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the European. Oh yeah, and I will never steal the Moors' birthright.
Never.
Numerous times. Put that on the record.
Yep.
Why? Because he already knows how these Moors are going to do. It's on the record. You can't say that, you know, he's violating. He's not violating if he's taking an oath to the 5 principles, which is our principles. Like, what do you mean? How is he violating? Stop hating and get active. Stop hating and get active. Do something for the Moorish nation. Do something. I don't care what you do. Just do something for the Moorish nation. Not for yourself, for the nation as a whole. Do something for Drew Ali. Do something for another Moor. Do something for your heirs. Do something for your Moabite. But just for once, do nothing for yourself. And do something to uplift somebody else. What about uplifting yourself? Because again, if we use Latif Bey as an example, He put some of you Moors to shame that claim that you're Moors. That's why you're mad. Don't get mad, just get active. Because he's doing exactly what Noble Drew Ali told him to do. So you'll be in error telling him don't do something that Noble Drew Ali told him to do. You think he's gonna listen to you or listen to the Prophet? And we even go into his reverence and whatever for the Prophet, that he's not even looking at some European as his Prophet. He's looking at Noble Drew Ali as his Prophet. We're not even going there, because that's going to go into time I don't have. Islam to all the Moors, the studious Moors, the love, truth, peace, freedom, justice Moors, the uplifting, fallen humanity Moors. FOH to all you clowns out there still playing around like it's not about Moorish birthrights for everybody. It's all about Moorish birthrights for everybody, so everybody could be free. I don't care how they look like. You taking an oath to the 5 principles? And you're going to do your best to uplift somebody who's downtrodden? All right, I'm riding with you. Let's go.
Yep.
I don't care what you look like. Because we are all Moors. Some way, shape, or form, we're a Moor. Think the Europeans not 80% water too? All right, well, he's the water too, and he's a Moor.
Right? And then, I mean, you got to look at that, really. I mean, technically, Europe's not a country. Europe's an Asian.
No.
So they're not even Europeans. That doesn't even, there's no such thing as a European. So now what do we do? Where are we going now from there? How do we do this? See? What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
So now what? Are those Asiatics too? How are we doing that? Because Europe's in Asia. The Caucasus Mountains is in Asia. What are we doing? You can't just do that. You can't just do that.
Conveniently put your baby in the tire.
You're right. Yep. Mhm.
Oh, you just put the baby in the tire. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep.
You just happen to leave the car and leave the baby in the car, and it's 100 degrees outside. You just happen to do that. Windows up. You just happen to do that. Like you're so fried that you just said, you know what? Oh my gosh, the baby's retarded or whatever like that. Oh, you just put it in the trash. It's all right. It's all right. You know.
And now you mad because the baby survived and wants to kick your ass now because you left me in the trash. Doing you all types of wrong now. Like you guys left us in the trash. What do you want us to do? You guys just thought you weren't gonna take care of us? All right.
All right. Here we go. Coming out of the Caucasus Mountains, the trash that you left us in.
Yep. Walked us across this hot desert, burning and all, brother. You're not gonna just Nah. You can't do that. You can't do that, man. That's not.
And then on the other side of it now, right? The whole reason for him being so sincere, no different than the abolitionists, because they know what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to correct their karma as well.
Yep.
Right? And then as they're trying to correct theirs, we should be correcting ours, but we're not trying to correct ours. We're still looking at them as, oh yeah, the European or the hybrid and all this type of stuff. Like they're not on Earth with us. Like they're on Earth now. They're not in a lab anymore. They're on some Caucasus Mountains anymore, restricted from civilization. The beast came out of the thing and now it's amongst the people, mated with people and all that type of stuff. You don't even know what's what right now. How about we do what Drew Ali said? Learn to love instead of hate. Live by the 5 principles and uplift fallen humanity. anybody that you see falling, put your hand and help them up. Doesn't matter what they look like. Doesn't matter why they fell. Just help somebody up. They fell. You're just gonna walk over. They fell. Then you walk over them, and then you realize that, oh yeah, that was the billionaire of whatever, that if you helped him, you would have had everything that you want for your liberation or your salvation. But no, you don't believe in divine providence. Think that this is only about earth plane only. You got work to do, Moors. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. No matter what whether you hate Latif, whether you think he's a sellout, whether you think that he's a whatever, Islam to you. Any European that you see that, you know what I mean, is being upright with regard to truth, honors to them. Once you're dealing with truth, honors to you. No matter how you look like. Islam, Brother Yusuf. Islam to you more. You know, top Saturday.
I'm going to shake your thanks. Islam to all the Moors in the chat. Give honor to the Prophet for not giving up on us.
Islam.
Because he said, I should leave you.
Hey, he did say that he should leave us. For the same type of BS. I should leave you.
I want to give him thanks, man, because he could have, they was trying to, Moors, once again, doing it. Moors was chasing the Prophet around the temple. Not Europeans. It was Moors chasing the Prophet. It was Moors that took the Prophet stuff when he came home from being kidnapped and had his stuff on the street. Moors did that.
Yeah.
Moors did that. Not Europeans. Europeans came and thanked the Prophet. Crying when they heard that the Prophet got rid of. That's why I be like, man, the problem is ourselves every time. Teach you that when you little, you point your finger at one person, it's four pointing back at you, whatever.
Right.
They teach you that when you little.
Yeah.
Don't try to play the blame game. You did this. We did this. Trying to blame these Europeans. And that's why you treat them like that. Like, okay, I know I did this. You're supposed to have sympathy for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter how they act, whatever, of course they upset. You left me in the conveyance with the windows up, 100 degrees. I know you mad. My fault. I was dumb then. That's how we're supposed to be handling this business.
Right.
You know, we're not supposed to be trying to get even. You can't get even. You left them in there. There's nothing to get even about.
Admit you're wrong. Admit you're wrong and get right. Islam to all the Moors. Peace and love to all.
I know the dirty Moors, I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I'm saying, I know what dirty Moors did. I'm going at dirty rappers, lynching dirty Moors too. Hiding literature that Drew wrote to warn you. They claim to make you Muslim and make you sovereign. With paperwork and filings, it's fiat they robbing. They don't care about his words, throw it out like garbage. Or throw it at you when you're active, not passive. When they wanna talk about like off a trampoline mattress, treat them like a vamp or a teen actress. Get stamped with a brand like a mean savage. This Inquisition divine, all others average. Millennium Renaissance, heroes in our classes. Fed up with the czar control and fascists. Ask if they heard about Moors, they say no. But Masons, they obviously know. Down the handshakes and rituals with skull and bones. They even know about owls burning Bohemian Grove. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. Dirty Moors killed Jure. I read the FBI papers on loyal Moors, emergency fund rapers. Moorish literature and divine ballad changers. Might as well say Jure Ali was born in a manger. Prophet puts poison aside and his food smelled danger. Got me treating every Moor like a stranger. Grand sheep pumpkin, stumbling drunk in their feds. What was proclaimed for every meeting was not read. Some Moors are so active, prophet can't be dead. Thanks Moorish teachers away, I can't be led. Actions speak, then I consider what's said. And what's said was study, then study yourself. Honest to the prophet, noble Jure Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did to Jure Ali. Everybody wants to be just like Jure Ali, but nobody wants to care about Jure Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did to Jure Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Jure Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Jure Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Jure Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did.
Oh, before we close out all that, before we close out, you want to close out with that one? Start over. Start.
Right, yep. So I was telling the Grand Sheik, you know, I had a situation where a European would help me out crazy. You know, I had got my first apartment all on my own. You know, my boys would come over to my house, all Moors come to my house. We'd be sitting in the windowsill, sitting on the floor, and nobody never said nothing about, you don't have no furniture or nothing like that. We were just happy to have somewhere to be at, you know. So I'm getting a ride from a European. You know, he's coming in. I invite him upstairs or whatever, and we're chilling. He comes in. He's like, "Oh, you don't have no furniture?" I'm like, "No, you know, I never. You know, it doesn't bother me. I just sit." He was like, "Man, that's crazy. You know, people come in here." I'm like, "Yeah, people come in here because nobody, our people, we don't care about nothing like that. We just in there, young, crazy, no furniture." He was like, "Yo, come to my house real quick." Go to his house. His basement is finished, and he has some furniture down there or whatever for his finished basement. He ends up giving me his furniture. He had a pickup truck that used to bring me because we worked together. He wasn't even my friend. I just asked. I needed a ride home. None of my friends would come pick me up from work, so I asked the European. He gave me the ride home. Seen upstairs I didn't have any furniture, and gave me his furniture in the basement. All European. I remember that too, because I really couldn't get a ride home. I remember that day. I was calling everybody to get a ride home. Everybody's busy. So I asked Luke. His name is Luke. And I asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll bring you home." And he lived the total opposite way. I'm talking about a whole nother quote-unquote state. He lived total opposite way. But we would all work at this warehouse because they gave out a lot of notes. He brought me home and went all the way back home, which was another 30 minutes away, and then brought me back home with the furniture. European. I didn't give him nothing. I didn't nothing. Just was friends with Luke. This was friends. They called him. His nickname was Dirt. Became friends with Dirt forever. Me and Dirt was always together. European. I go to his house. His family was Russian. His family was Russian. I used to go to his mom's house. His dad, chilling, cookouts would be right over there. European. That's why I have tons of stories. Europeans always helping. My own, no. That's what I hear all the time. No. I told y'all, when I went and told my family that we was Moors, first thing I heard was, "You a nigga, your mother a nigga, and your daddy a nigga. You always gonna be a nigga." That's what I heard when I went and told my family that we was Moors.
Islam.
That's the first.
Peace and love to all Moors. Islam Moors.